Is nationally syndicated radio talk show host. I call him the Great One, Mark Levin. Mark, good to see you, sir.
Good to see you, Sean.
All right, let's talk about half the Israeli population now has been in bomb shelters in the last 24, 48 hours. You see the situation unfolding here, but yet we have a top official in the Obama administration now blaming Israel for what's going on there. Your reaction to that?
My reaction is this administration has been hostile to Israel from day one. You have the Secretary of State out there comparing Israel to an apartheid regime. You have the President of the United States who's issuing cold press releases when 3 of their teenagers are kidnapped and murdered by Hamas terrorists. I am appalled by what's going on here. The President's playing pool in Denver. He's having a grand old time. He should have come out, made an unequivocal statement in support of our ally Israel, the only democracy in the region. Where the hell is Congress? There should be a joint resolution out of Congress making it quite clear that we will stand with Israel. This country, our country, would never tolerate missiles being fired into our major metropolitan areas by anybody. That we wouldn't tolerate sirens going off, people going into fallout shelters endlessly, handing out gas masks. This is our little ally in the Middle East, surrounded by these terrorists and barbarians being attacked and attacked and attacked. And we should be speaking as a nation and as a government, full-throated defense and support.
What do you make of the comments of Philip Gordon, his special assistant to the President and the White House, and he's the coordinator for the Middle East? He actually said he attributed the violence to the occupation, using the exact term of the Palestinians, that they are responsible. What is your reaction to the statement they made publicly?
He's an Islamist sympathizer, quite frankly. That's why he said it. Otherwise, it's an outrageous statement for anybody to make. This president should fire him immediately, and he won't. The Secretary of State should fire him immediately, and he won't. Here they are under siege, under attack. They didn't provoke anything, trying to defend themselves so they can live in peace. And now we have this jerk who goes over there and starts talking about this as Israel's fault. I have never seen anything like this. Democrat or Republican administration, liberal or conservative administration. Like everything else, this president and his people take it too far.
All right, Mark, we're in Dallas tonight, and obviously we're following the story. We just had the governor on, his meeting with the president from earlier today. We got a humanitarian crisis. We got a security crisis at our borders. I would argue of the administration's own making, because they have pretty much decided they're not going to obey or enforce current law, and they're moving forward on their own. And this has now been an invitation to everybody around the world, come in. Our borders are wide open. Your reaction?
Yeah, there's no question about it. Our lawless president is lawless when it comes to immigration, too. Here's the plan. It's a 3-point plan. Deport, secure the border, and don't give any money to governments that export their people into our country. And this is a humane plan, so people aren't raped and abused on their way to the United States, so they're not stuck on the border in the United States. That's the humane plan. That's the right plan. And let me tell you something else. What's going on in this country, the idea that compassion is an open border, that anybody who can come here, that's humane. Let me tell you something, Sean. Cesar Chavez, who is lionized by this president and the Secretary of Labor and by leftists all over the country, he opposed virulently illegal immigration. Harry Truman, Dwight Eisenhower, Ralph Abernathy, Martin Luther King's right-hand man, they opposed it right into the 1970s. This idea of open borders, anybody coming across, no matter who they are, what their backgrounds are, this idea is a new idea in this country, despite the propaganda we hear from the president, his party, and leaders in the Republican Party. A nation has the right to secure its border, it has the right to know who's coming, and it has the right to know who they are.
Mark, you and I have talked at length. There are some conservative governors that are doing great jobs, and I would argue including Governor Perry here in the great state of Texas. But there are timid, weak Republicans in Washington. They have constitutional powers and authority. This is your area of expertise. How would you advise them to stop this? I think they need to use the power of the purse. I want to get your thoughts.
Well, first of all, how come they didn't pick Laredo or El Paso for the Republican convention? I'm not against Cleveland. I think Cleveland's a great town. How come the president doesn't vacation in McAllen, Texas, but he's always going to Martha's Vineyard and Hawaii and Aspen and Palm Springs to play golf? How come he wouldn't go to the southern border just to make a visit, just to see what's going on? I'll tell you why. Because this is chaos, This is anarchy. He's planted the seed for this. He met in late June with this cabal of left-wing front groups who all told him they need to do something more in order to open the border and to give citizenship to illegal aliens. We have absolute chaos here when it comes to immigration, and the Republican Party should stand with the vast majority of the American people who are watching this with their jaws on the floor and cannot believe somebody doesn't stand up to this.
Let me ask you this. We had Governor Palin on the program last night. She says this lawlessness has led her to the conclusion that the president needs to be impeached. John Boehner said no today. I wanted to get your thoughts.
John Boehner says no to impeachment, no to power of the purse, no to shutting down the government, which has been shut down 20 times before he was Speaker in multiple administrations. John Boehner attacks conservatives in the Tea Party. Let me tell you something, Sean. He's bringing this lawsuit, which has a very slim chance of success given standing issues and precedent in our federal courts. And he is playing with fire, because if we lose that suit, what is Obama going to say, Sean? Obama's going to say, see that? They gave their best shot. They brought a lawsuit. The courts agree with me. And off goes the imperial president again. I think John Boehner has been a disastrous Speaker of the House. And this lawsuit idea, which is really out of left field, I think is a mistake.
All right, Mark,
and let me add this in terms of Sarah Palin and impeachment. Just very quick.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just going to say on impeachment, Sarah Palin is right. If we had a functioning constitutional republic with a president who violates separation of powers, who thumbs his nose at the court system, and who says he's going to do more and more of it, she's exactly right. This would be an open and shut case. She stands with the framers. So what's Boehner's answer? What are the Republicans going to do? They're going to wait for the next election? That doesn't fix it.
Well, they had their chance. They could have defunded Obamacare. That is their constitutional power. They didn't use it. I agree with you. I don't think standing will exist for them when they go to the courts. And then what will the reaction of the president be? Just as you say. Mark, good to see you, my friend.